Hello, my loves. Welcome into this Taurus Solar season reading for those who have Mars in Taurus. So, the planets of the zodiac story represent what? And the what of Mars is our actions and our reactions. And the sign that the planet expresses in is how the what expresses. So, the what of Mars is expressing through the Taurus archetype. So, your actions and reactions are expressing through a very fixed and unyielding earth physicality. So you may feel very determined, earthy, loyal, domestic, and dependable in your actions and reactions. Now you see here a gesture hat on top of the Taurus bull on the planet Mars. And that is because Taurus in Mars is in a alignment called detriment. Now don't let that word get you down too much. I have a couple planets in detriment. What it means is that it's in the sign that's opposite its ruler. So because Mars and Venus are opposites, Taurus and Venus is in its home planet. Venus rules Taurus. So the opposite is Mars, and we have this energy called detriment, which is when a planet is in a sign opposite its ruler. So I put the gesture hat on here because I put a crown on the what's called domicile alignments when when a sign is in its ruling planet. But the gesture hat is to represent the role of the gesture in the court, which was to show up and point out the foibles and the imperfections of the ruler. They were the only person in the court allowed to do this. So the role that the detriment energy has is really to show the imperfections of the energy that it's in. So you're kind of bringing this energy of awareness to the detriment that Venus or Taurus has. So when it comes to actions and reactions, Taurus is a very slow energy. It's a very fixed energy. It doesn't like to change, and actions and reactions are like in the moment things. And it's very physical in nature, where Mars is very fiery and wants to like burst forth with energy. And these energies are very oppositional. So when you have a detriment placement, what I like to say is just see it as an opportunity to learn a different expression of this archetype. So your actions and reactions have Taurus behind them. That just means it's going to be a little bit harder for you to experience balance, cohesion, simplicity in your actions and reactions, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. And once you've mastered your actions and reactions, you're actually going to be further along than someone who was just born in a naturally aligned placement with the Taurus energy and vibration, because they didn't have to work as hard for it, right? So you are blessed with this alignment because you have to work harder at it than some other people. My detriment alignment is my Mercury. So my communication and my learning is in what's called detriment. Though if you meet me and interact with me, you'll see that my communication and my learning is a big part of who I am and how I express myself. And I've had to overcome some of the pitfalls of the detriment placement. For me, a lot of times I speak out of turn, a lot of times I speak too truthfully. And for me, learning, I learn so quickly that I get really impatient with anyone else in my learning sphere that is slower than me. And so these are things that I've had to kind of temper. For you, your actions and reactions, you're going to want to move quicker in your actions and reactions than you're really able to. But it is through a slower action and reaction that you're actually going to be able to be perhaps at times in better positions to make wiser decisions, because you have more information before you move forward with something, right? You're steady and firm in your location. and your actions are very slow. You're very slow to put that bull foot down and take an action forward. But when you do, the whole ground shakes, right? That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling here. And your reactions, you may spend a lot of time wishing you would have reacted differently or sooner. But by the time you do react, you've had time to process what it is that you're reacting to. And there's a lot of benefit in being able to do that. So this isn't a bad thing, right? There's nothing in our chart that's either good or bad. There's favorable and unfavorable, but it's really just what is easy and comes naturally and what is more of a challenge, but also gives us more opportunity on the other side. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you. Let me know if you have questions on that. We're going to dive into the reading. We're going to find out how to activate an earthy nature in your actions and reactions with the Faery Oracle. So if you haven't already, closed your eyes, taken a few deep breaths, and opened your heart to receive the guidance most aligned for you at this time. It wants to be this bottom card here. Ooh. There are so many card reversals in these readings, you guys. You got this card reversed. Number 14, the light, the darkness, ancestry, ancestral line, generational shift. All right. A tiny, bright, childlike fairy straddles the grizzled head of a fairy elder. What can this mean? In fairy lore, the head is particularly significant. It is in the head that inspiration, fire, and power are said to reside. The fairy told the ancient Celts of this secret, and the Celts then venerated and collected the heads of the heroes slain, which were often said to live long after the body had passed away. And this small, bright fairy is hearing all the wisdom this old being has. He is sharing and telling and communicating, and while she may seem playful, she is attending to his every word, and she will remember for generations to come. You see, fairy do not live forever, though they live very long lives, a great deal longer than any humans do, even the ones with human blood. However, they do fade away, and the small fairy being atop the head of the old one will ensure the knowledge that will continue. I'm doing readings based on your Taurus alignment, so if you want to watch the introduction to this reading, you can find out which reading is for you, and you can get guidance from that point. My beautiful friend watching on Twitch. Okay. On another level, the small brightness of the fairy represents inspiration, the muse, the fire in the head which we speak of in Celtic shamanism. It is when we feel and see and know that connection to all that is, when we are afire with inspiration and ideas flow to us and from us and within us, that we are restored to our true self. This beautiful ancient being whose light is fading is passing on wisdom into the keeping of the young and often underestimated. Now, the reversed meaning is only sticking to people, it's the tendency to only stick to people your own age, knowing little about your older relatives, mistrusting people who are older, stereotypical thinking and beliefs about older people, needing to connect with other older people but feeling cut off from them, feeling they are unlike you, believing that the generational gap is too wide to be bridged, or that bloodlines don't matter, denying your DNA, wanting to cut yourself off from your family of origin and their history and their traditions. Interesting. So you're being guided, I feel, to embody an earthy expression through the wisdom of somebody physically alive in your life right now who you're being called to interact with. It doesn't matter who it is, but anyone that you thought of when I was talking about these things, you can trust that inner knowing and guidance to guide you to this person that you're being invited to listen to and to be supported by. We are talking about our actions and our reactions, and I feel like the card is saying your reactions to older people and to seeking the wisdom of your family and your ancestry is a negative one, is a unfavorable one. And there's an opportunity there that you are missing to get grounded, to have this earthy embodiment, to be able to really understand the truth and the origin of your own being, is to be able to understand the wisdom from which you come and dive into that a little bit deeper. And your actions will be informed by this wisdom that you are seeking. So you are being invited to seek this wisdom in order to get this earthy embodiment, especially because your actions and your reactions are missing pieces of information. It feels like, especially because this is a detriment alignment, there's an extra need for you to have more knowledge and understanding of something that can help you move forward. If you didn't watch the Aries new moon solar eclipse readings, I recommend you dive into that material too, because there's some huge ancestral understanding and healing that can be provided for your family, for your familiar relationships, through understanding the information I brought through in those readings. So just a plug for you there. I'm going to leave this here. I feel pretty complete with this guidance. It's actually fairly straightforward. Let me know how this resonates. Let me know if you have questions. And as always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.